In 2008, Michael and Deborah Randall opened a safe haven to heal any United States veteran in crisis. Their hope and dream was simple: to use equine-assisted activities, counseling, and developing life skills to encourage and assist veterans back into society. Being an avid horseman, Michael Randall, a U.S. veteran diagnosed with post-traumatic stress and father to 3 veterans himself, knew the words of Winston Churchill rang true in his own life. There's something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a man. And so, Hopes and Dreams was created out of the need to not only help their own children to heal, but bring healing to many. To date, the lives of more than 2,500 active duty military, veterans, and families have been touched and changed by the Randalls and their gentle giants. Hopes and Dreams Riding Facility is recognized by the Veterans Administration as well as some of the most prestigious medical mental health facilities in the southeastern United States as a trusted source for the treatment of post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. The Randalls' hopes and dreams are to save the lives of veterans by healing the battle wounds that can't be seen. David Hubbard,
Yes,
you're
sir.
the resident manager of Hopes and Dreams.
Yes, sir, Ryan.
When did you first come here?
I was actually court ordered here through Veterans Court, which they started in Macon, Georgia, because of me. Under my contract, I was to do 6 months here in the program. I've been here 4, but I was discharged at my 90-day mark because of my success here, and was offered the position of resident manager. I served in the Air Force from 1985 to 91 as military police, or security specialist in the Air Force it's called. And then I served from 1998 to 2006 in the United States Army as military police. And I was retired medically in 2006 after I was injured my 3rd tour in Iraq in 2004.
What happened?
I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, major PTSD, TBI, traumatic brain injury. I'm service connected also for my knee, hearing loss. So just an array of things, but the majority of my disability is my post-traumatic stress and my TBI.
How has Hopes and Dreams changed your life thus far?
Well, the biggest, I guess, solution that I found here for my issues were the serenity here, working with the horses. It's a relationship that's really unequal to any. I'm from the city. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. You know, what a wonderful experience. You build a trust with this animal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just amazing. Hopes and Dreams is a wonderful facility, but it's more of a transitional facility. My belief is to get inpatient help 24/7 in a very structured inpatient environment.
Yeah.
The structure that I implement here is more or less to discipline the veterans as far as with working with the horses, the dog therapy, our group sessions, our peer counseling, things like that. But
when you first got here, was it difficult? I mean, was it a relief? Like, wow, this is, I mean,
It was a relief. I mean, as far as what I just went through, and the camaraderie here.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, just the environment here. You know, the horses and just the wildlife here. Just the whole setting here is very serene.
It seems like the fact that you guys have the opportunity to do a lot of thinking, is that kind of that feeling here that you get that serenity of, you know, that peace? And
It is, and we allow that time to happen, and that's usually the end of the day. You know, we don't want to allow too much space in your head, because that's where post-traumatic stress really festers at, is an idle time. You know,
studying hopes and dreams, it's not like you just come here and you go out there and whatever. I mean, driving up, you guys are out there building.
right?
You know, there were some people on this side doing some other stuff, and
Right.
it's
We have
like,
many projects here.
wow, these guys are working
all the time.
You know,
Right, absolutely. We require 3 hours a day, but you know, some do less, some do more. And then on top of that, the household, the lodge chores. What a wonderful program it is, because number one, we don't ask anything of the veterans other than to give it your best and to want the help, because there is help.
yeah,
You know, I'm a success, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I've been homeless, I've been an addict, and I was an alcoholic. I had 4 years sobriety, and I've made something of myself.
yeah,
You know, after losing everything over and over again, not just from Iraq, but the aftermath of that, my marriage, my life. You know, which I tried to take at one point, and God didn't see it that way, and I'm just so thankful for that. And I think my biggest asset here is giving back to these veterans who were, a lot of them, in the position that I was in. But as far as, you know, getting back to your question, as far as idle time, we try not to give you that space. We
Yeah.
try to take a lot of that space. That's why we keep you busy. You know, a big factor, I guess the biggest trait you lose as a combat veteran is trust.
yeah,
And what these horses do is bring that back.
Mhm.
You know, you're dealing with a 2,500 pound animal
yeah,
that at any given time can really just basically kill you.
That's right.
Or seriously hurt you. But that horse knows, it learns your personality, it learns your fear.
that instinct.
It
Yeah,
does, and it's just an amazing relationship. And to go on that first trail ride, you know, I've been horseback riding before on, you know, obviously tamed horses and things like that, but and most of the horses are, but just to do it alone,
Mhm.
to take these trails, it's just is divine. It's just truly a divine experience.
yeah,
You know, and what a wonderful way to, you know, have that trust with this animal, you know, and that part of your life's been missing for so long,
yeah,
especially when it comes, you know, mostly from people. And although it's an animal, it's still the same concept.
Well, you
just-
guys are doing a great job here. I mean, and to listen to you and to see how heart-wrenching your story is, but it's also great to see the good news that
Right.
you're doing so much better now.
Absolutely.
I thank you so much for sitting down and sharing
Oh,
your
you're
story
welcome.
with us.
It's my pleasure. My
Hopes and
pleasure.
Dreams is an amazing organization,
It's my pleasure.
and you're doing a great job too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Andy, you served.
In the U.S. Navy. MOS in the Navy, we called it RATE in the Navy, was Airborne Mine Countermeasures, Special Warfare. Specifically for me, I was an Airedale, After boot camp in Chicago, I went down to Pensacola, Florida for A school and was an aircraft machinist mate. And that was a 2-month school. In April of 2000, I went to the fleet in Norfolk, Virginia, land-based. And main job in Norfolk was we were a 48-hour deployment squadron. My main job was to taxi aircraft to go out.
So, Andy, just getting right to it, why are you here at Hopes and Dreams?
I'm here at Hopes and Dreams. I had a few incidences in the military. I was actually also cross-rated as a fireman. I went to first-class firefighter school, so I had a few fire incidences that caused PTSD. Helicopters catching on fire, stuff like that, buildings catching on fire. All that stuff was pretty much subdued until I went to actually the SATP program in September. I went there because I shattered my ankle in the Navy in 2000. I fell out of a helicopter at the gunner's seat, unloading cargo, and shattered my ankle. And they put me on Vicodin, and I became addicted to Vicodin and dependent. And so I've been dependent on Vicodin for the last 15 years through the VA. And I'd finally gotten tired of it being, basically a vegetable at PRN 4 times a day. So in August of 2014, I decided to check into the SATP program, substance abuse, in Dublin. A friend of mine who was in the First Gulf War, he and I went out, and he had a few drinks and was driving. And I said, take me home. You've got PTSD. We both do. We know it's not good. So he took me back to the barracks at about 8 o'clock. Well, about 11 o'clock that night, he rolled in. It's around the 1st of October, and he was crying, acting out, and went to his room, shut the door. And a couple other people said, you need to check on your buddy. And so they were kind of laughing because they didn't know how serious it was. And so I knocked on his door with 2 other guys. He didn't say anything, and I said, Rob, open up. If you want some time by yourself, I understand. Well, about 2 minutes into it, I heard choking and gagging. And so I kicked the door in, and he had hung himself with his canteen belt from the corner of his wall locker to his neck to the other side of the door, and was basically dying. And his face, when I kicked the door open, turned from green to purple. So with the help of another guy, I picked him up off the ground. He weighed about 285 pounds, and we finally got the belt off his neck, and he fell to the ground and lived. But as a result of that, I have a bulging disc in my back, and since then I've had multiple flashbacks that brought me here. And then one day I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm tired of living like this.
Yeah.
Numbing everything.
How do you feel? What is your personal feeling about the military and about our government, and how it's almost like, thank you for your service?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I was talking to Vicky, our career peer specialist. We established the VA a while back because they know when they put us in and we go through combat and stuff like that, we're going to be messed up for the rest of our life. And my feeling is they basically treat us like a pariah. They just push us to the side.
But let's stop right there and go back to years ago when Andy decided he wanted to be in the military. How was that feeling? How, you're ready to...
Yeah.
When did you decide you wanted,
after about 2 years of college, I did okay, had decent grades, but I wanted some structure.
Yeah.
Came from a military family. My dad was an Air Force flight surgeon. And so I just wanted, kind of like that gung-ho attitude. And
so it's something, you wanted to be part of the...
Yeah, you want to be that hero type thing. But then it changes once you see things and you go through things. And then afterwards, you're broken.
Yeah.
So.
How does just that make you feel? I know that's a redundant, silly question, but...
I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went in the military. And I would like for my son or daughter to go in the military. But it makes me feel disappointed in our government mainly, because they don't do enough. You go back re-assimilated into society, they don't debrief you enough. They'll give you a 30 or an hour minute briefing and let you see your family, you're gone. So they need to assimilate you back and integrate you back into society, so you're not having as many flashbacks and the nightmares. You're going to always have them, but they need to do more with that. So they're not,
Being here at Hopes and Dreams, how has your life changed?
It's changed dramatically for the good. I've tried to get here. David Hubbard, one of our resident manager, he was with me at the PTSD program, and he had mentioned this place, and I said, that's really somewhere I want to go. So, what really the direction I wanted to take to get here, but it's dramatically changed my life for the good.
What message do you have to those who are going through what you've been through, and what message do you have for them to the point of don't go the route that we sadly hear about, there's help?
With that right there, you're gonna have your good days and your bad days, but there's other stuff that you can overcome. My boss, Mike Randall, he was a Navy SEAL. Coming in here after I've been on hydrocodone for 15 years and I'd been on MS Cotton for 2 months, I came in cold turkey off of it. And Mike basically told me there's enough endorphins.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Cold turkey.
That is
no withdrawals.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I sat on the porch and I asked Mike the second day, because I thought I was about to have withdrawals. I said, what do I do? How do I handle this? He said, you got to tell your mind to tell your body that you can do it, because your mind is so powerful. That, and the fact that he also said with the therapeutic, equine atmosphere we have here, as well as our dogs and the beautiful scenery, you get as many endorphins from all that, from nature, as you can from a drug.
And the ranch here helps you.
Oh yeah, it's very conducive. Yeah.
What are some of the things that you're involved with right now?
I'm in charge of all the service dogs right now. Actually, we have 4 service dogs I'm in charge of. The VA didn't recognize, I think, PTSD until 1980 with a lot of the Vietnam vets, from the DSMV, and they need to basically spend more time debriefing and having classes on PTSD, because it's that serious. It's that life or death. Because when a soldier goes into a flashback, it's that major depressive episode to where it's so bad you want to kill yourself just to get out of it. So they need to take precautions to prevent that. And they're also making medications, like a medication called Prozasin, which is an alpha blocker that I take that cuts off that fight or flight in your sleep. So
wow,
scientific advancements. So,
well, you look like you're happy now.
I am. I'm very happy. Very happy to be here.
For you.
Very happy. Yeah.
Andy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
it for your service.
Enjoy it. Thank you.
Vicki, what's your relationship here with Hopes and Dreams?
I am the certified peer specialist, certified through the state of Georgia, to work with these guys to help them through their post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms and day-to-day living, and help them with coping skills for when they return home. Kind of help them be human again.
Yeah. And you're also?
I'm also a PTSD vet. I did 10 years in the Army.
How long have you been here?
I've been here since August, so I've been about 5 months.
What made you want to come here?
Well, honestly, watching my father die when he was only 38, and the military, the VA was totally different then. They just kind of Thorazined him up. I knew from an early age I wanted to work with vets, and then I became one. Yeah, I put in a PTSD vet, and then I raised a PTSD vet with my daughter, serving a year in Iraq. So we're a military family. It's in our tradition, and somebody needed to do something, and so I have 5 college degrees, student loans, but I work here for free because this is what I want to do. I want to work with these guys.
What happened? I want to bring something up because you showed me a photo of you.
Yes.
And you held it up, and you said something to me.
I just said, that's the last time I felt human. But that's because, unlike these guys, my PTSD wasn't combat related. My PTSD stemmed from a military sexual trauma, which is rampant in the military. I believe the statistics 1 in 4, but 100% of the females that join the service receive sexual harassment on a continual basis. And they're unseen, invisible, and unheard. And so the invisible war is being waged right now to get military sexual trauma out of the hands of the commanders and into the hands of the law enforcement of the place where it occurs.
There has been some movement
Yes.
going on out, and I've heard, I'm one of the few, I guess, that like to watch the news channels and so forth, and I've heard quite a bit going on in that area.
Yeah, Tailhook kind of started it all off.
Right.
But it had been going on prior to that because mine happened prior to Tailhook.
When you see that going on now, I mean, when it first started, did you throw your hands up and say, like, finally? You know?
No,
or-
it was still anger
Yeah.
because I did report. My commander said, "What do you want me to do about it?" I said, "Well, can I go to sick call?" He said, "No." So you were made to feel unimportant and devalued, and I just kind of. I was a photographer in the Army, so
Yeah.
I was always the only female because I had a combat position. So I was always the only female. I don't have camaraderie stories that these guys have because it was a constant battle the whole time I was there. But it was from 1982 to 1992, so it was a totally different time. But my daughter serving in Iraq, she still went through it as a medic, And people want to say, "Oh, we love our medics." Yeah. No.
Is it something in the military where it's almost like they accepted that, like, oh, just
It's just part of your job.
that's
Yes.
it, yeah.
Yes, that's more or less what I was told. But that was again in 1983, when mine occurred at Aberdeen Proving Grounds, which it was a bad place to be in 1983 if you were a female in the service. And
well, and it was a big deal when females were allowed to be in the military,
Yeah.
and just, and,
but we have had females in every war we've ever
right,
fought.
that's right.
A female is 4 times more likely, according to something I read, to become homeless. When a female has children, she has to sign custody of her children over to somebody prior to joining the service. That's just the rule. So now here you got this 28-year-old woman coming back from Iraq with multiple problems. Could be addiction, could be drugs, could be a number of things. And she doesn't have custody of her children, okay? She comes back messed up. Somebody's going to keep custody of her kids. She's going to end up on the street. And we don't think about our female vets. We don't see legless females. We don't see mama coming home and returning and surprising her children because they don't want the general population thinking about the females that are serving and coming home maimed. And it's like, it's huge numbers of females that are in our centers with no legs, no arms, and they're just shoved in the background. Now, if you see a man with no legs, and he served, you say thank you for your service. You see a woman, you kind of want to walk away. Don't want to say anything to her. And that's how we feel invisible and unheard. So at the VA, they said, "Vicki, we're going to make a special entrance so you can get to the women's clinic without." I said, "Nope, coming through the front door." I earned that.
There you go. So I know this is a silly question. How do you feel about our government and our military?
I don't like our government, and I support our military.
Well, you support
My
those who
son-
are there.
Yes, I support everybody who's serving in
Serving, yeah.
uniform. However, I gave him one child. My son wants to join. I'm like, no, because it's not the right time for him. Like I said, I have a 30-year-old daughter with PTSD, and I don't need another child like that.
How has hopes and dreams changed your life?
Well, my guys here, my vets, I call them my vets. Every time I talk to them, it helps me in my recovery. I've been in recovery for so long now, it's just part of it. But I try to help them see that the PTSD is a very small part of them. It's a label that they stick on them. But I tell them, no, you're not PTSD, you're Andy or you're Jack. You're not PTSD. You're not an alcoholic, you're Andy or Jack. That's just a small part of who you are. So I want to get them to get back to whole selves. Because so many of us, we've lost that.
Yeah.
And our families can't deal with us because we don't want them to know what we've been through because it would hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all have trouble with sitting with somebody behind us, and nighttime is a bad time for all of us because we rarely sleep. And so we're up talking a lot.
But that is a great therapy,
It's
isn't
it's a
it?
great therapy. That's why I moved in. And
Tell me a little bit about Tater Tot.
Tater Tot, he's 7 years old. He's been my constant companion for
He
the
is
last
so
7
handsome.
years.
You are so handsome.
He's probably the end of this year. I'll have him certified as an emotional support animal. But I don't know if I need to wear the vest or if he does, because I think I'm his support animal.
He's awesome. He is.
He's his best friend.
No, and I'm not a veteran. I have 2 Chihuahuas, like I said, and best buddies.
His bed says U.S. Army.
He is amazing. How do you like the horses and the ranch and stuff?
I like the horses and the ranch. I believe the philosophy that we have here is going to help a lot of people. We're having a little bit of growing pains, which every place has when it starts. So it's just getting these guys more or less acclimated to being back in the States. You know, some of them come here with that far-eyed stare, and we try to get some life back behind their eyes. You know, that's the big part.
Well, I want to say this. We're going to end the interview, and it's been an honor talking to you.
It's been an honor
And
talking
you
to you.
are an outstanding human being.
Well, I thank you.
You are.
I thank you.
And thank you, Tater Tot. You're like my puppies. They're really good on camera.
So, but I
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How are you, Colby?
Right now I'm doing pretty good.
When did you come here to Hopes and Dreams?
I arrived here about 2 months ago.
Now, you served 2 tours in Iraq. You said 2005 and 2006,
That's correct.
and then again in 2009, 2010.
That's right.
And thank you for your service to our country, man. That's amazing.
I appreciate that.
That's really impressive. Why are you here, Colby?
I'm here to try to get a better grasp of PTSD, condition that I have. I'm trying to, work out a few things and figure out how I can, continue on with my life without having to, battle it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm learning coping mechanisms and stuff like that, ways to see the problem before it happens. You know what I mean?
How has Hopes and Dreams been a change? Has it made a change in your life?
Oh yeah, it has. It has so far. The groups that we have that teach about PTSD and stuff like that's been real, informative for me. I gather a lot from it, and what I do is I try to apply what we learn in day-to-day activities, and try to figure out how to work those things in, to manage my time and my day, and just live life.
So when you returned from your tours, how was life for you?
It was different. You get stuck in a routine like in Iraq or Afghanistan for some guys. And then, you come here back to the States and everything seems totally different. It's like stepping foot on a different planet. Like you're constantly thinking, well, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be doing something, but
You sound just like my friends who are returned vets, and each one had the same response to what you just said. They're used to being told what to do every day.
Yep.
You have a set, and then all of a sudden you're dropped off, and it's like, whoa, what am I going to do now? And that played a part in making life difficult.
Oh yeah, it did. Because you're, once you're thrown back into the real world, where you're just supposed to expected to fall back in line after doing certain things overseas. It's it can be confusing, but if I'm trying to think of the best way to word it, I guess it seems different.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
life's
really-
a little chaotic.
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean,
It is. Everything slows down. So I guess idle hands
Right. Yeah.
is what takes effect, and then
Yeah.
you got to find a way to overcome that.
What are some of the things that happened to you to where you came to the point of saying to yourself, like, I need help?
Actually, drugs play a big part in it for me. I got tied up in some things I shouldn't have been tied up in,
Right.
and so at that point I was I was fighting 2 battles, and I thought I was only fighting one. You know, when in reality I was not only fighting the drug addiction, I was fighting the PTSD, and then they both coincide with each other. And that's another thing I'm learning about how they play off of each other. Those 2 problems, and so far it's helping me. So,
How did it affect your family?
well, a lot of it they didn't understand. You know why I did the things I did, my behaviors and stuff like that, which I really didn't understand either. So I guess, from both standpoints, we both felt helpless. And finally I reached a breaking point, and Mr. Mike, he stepped in, intervened, and was able to kind of put me in the right direction. So with the help of him and, my family standing by me, I got a good support structure. So I'm very fortunate.
How is it being here with everyone so far has talked about how great it is to be around the horses and stuff. How's that?
Oh, I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed riding horses.
Yeah.
It's been a refresher course for me, because I haven't rode them so long, but I enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah.
I love it.
What are some of the things you're involved with here at Hopes and Dreams?
Well, we do a little bit of work, which actually does help. It helps you keep your mind off troubles and stuff like that. And we normally do about 3 hours a day, and then we do horse therapy, and we got groups, and we got several different kinds of groups. It's drug counseling, PTSD counseling. Sometimes the guys just get together and they just talk. About nothing in particular, just kind of get everything on the table.
I want to go back to the PTSD. When you were diagnosed with that and the medication that you were on,
No.
how many medications?
Actually, the only thing that really affected me as far as the medication they decided to put me on was to help me sleep. I'd kind of help manage nightmares and stuff like that, which I didn't really consider nightmares because I wasn't scared.
Yeah.
I just so vivid and real. So, and they thought that maybe that had a lot to do with my behavior and everything.
Right.
So they wanted to try to nip that in the bud. So I only had 2 medications that I was taking at a time, or that I'm taking currently. And one's to help me sleep and one's to manage and control my dreams.
Colby, I want to ask you the breaking point of what happened to you, the reason you're here.
Actually, I got to a point where I just wanted to be left alone. So I guess you could say I took about a 4-day vacation. I didn't tell anybody where I was going. And I worried a lot of people. A lot of it was drug fueled. A lot of it was PTSD. I'm just now figuring that out. So I've kind of been evasive for about 4 days, and my family, they were real worried about me, and they went to the law or the police and filed a missing person report. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And they were able to track me down, and they incorporated Mr. Mike into the search and everything, and they finally caught up with me and let me know they was there for me. And that right there, that situation was the breaking point for me.
Any resistance to come to Hopes and Dreams? I mean, like at the beginning, like I'm not going there, or
Not at all. The night that they found me was the night that I came here.
Wow.
Yeah. So once I seen their concern and how worried they were, and how bad they wanted to try to get me help.
Yeah.
I immediately, I just fell in line and came straight here.
Before your breaking point, were you trying to reach out? Were you? I mean, like.
That's I guess subconsciously maybe I
Forgive me
was.
because
No, you're all right.
I
You're all
don't know.
You're all right.
I mean, it's.
I think I probably was. I'd have to say, yeah, I probably was. I've always had a problem with asking people for help.
Yeah.
I have. I didn't know how to. And I guess in an off-balance way, that's exactly what I was doing.
And things here have, I mean, you seem to be happy
Oh yeah.
now. I mean, you look great. You seem like you feel great.
Oh yeah. I feel relaxed.
You love being here.
Yeah, I do like it here.
Now, what is your goal? I mean, like, where do we go from here?
Well, I'd like to maybe get back in school, finish up there where I slacked off, and try to get a job, respectable job, maybe in counseling. Try to help people who've
Right.
been through what I've been through.
Wow, what a great opportunity that would be for you.
Oh yeah.
You're to be commended for that, and I mean that with the highest respect, because a lot of people don't make it that far and they give up.
Right.
And you're here
Yep.
and you're doing good.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it did. It took seeing the concern and worry in
Yeah.
my family, to actually realize that I was going down the wrong road.
What do you have to say to those out there that haven't quite reached that breaking point or are about to, or they're going through a situation you went through a few months ago?
Well, my advice is, if you see or feel something's not right, if you're going down the wrong road, go ahead and get help. Try to catch it before it gets too bad or too late. It ain't nothing to be ashamed of. It ain't. Especially after seeing and doing some of the things that we've done. And it's much better just to be able to admit that, hey, I got to do something, than to be too far gone. You know what I mean?
I do.
Okay.
Colby, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate it. Mike Randall, you're the founder of Hopes and Dreams. What is Hopes and Dreams?
Hopes and Dreams is a place where soldiers can come and get well. It's a caring facility. It's all run by combat veterans, and it's just a place of peace.
And we were talking too about horses and dogs, and why a ranch? What's the unique thing about having a ranch with horses? And
Well, it's unique because when I come back, I had some issues, and somebody helped me with horses, and then I had 3 sons that were in the theater operations, and they all 3 come back really messed up. VA medicated them, then they turned to alcohol, and I took control. I went back into training horses and doing different things with horses, and I got them out there helping me every day. And these horses seemed to bring peace and calm over them. And the horses would actually tell me who's sick and who's not.
Yeah.
And they would love on them, and the horses would rub on them and everything, and kind of nudge them like they wanted to ride. And we started riding, and the kids started getting well. Every day they seemed to get a little better and a little better and a little better. So then we thought, we're losing 22 combats a day to suicide. Why can't we do it for everybody?
You started this in 2008, and obviously you had a strong desire to help those who are more or less coming back. It's more going on with our veterans than just them coming home and can't find a job or something. We're talking psychological problems. We're talking about some of these people being, as we spoke, hooked on medications and stuff.
We don't believe in medicines. I mean, at times they may need a mild dose of medicines to get them kind of even a little bit so we can start working on them, but we try to get them off of it as soon as possible. We had one young man that was on them, and every time the med room was open, he's there and wanting his meds. And we went over to my son's and put a roof on his house. He volunteered to go with us, and we put the roof on, we barbecued, we were sitting around having a good time, and I looked at him and oh my God, you didn't do it. He said, what? I said, take your medicines all day long, and here it is, 8 o'clock at night. He sat there and looked at me, and he said, wow, I really don't need them, do I? No, because you used your mind all day, and that's what it is. It's just keeping their mind busy.
How would someone know to come here?
We try to get it out in the public as much as we can. Lately, they started Veterans Court, and Veteran Court is trying to give them an opportunity not to have a record or go to jail by DUIs and drugs and things like this. The knowledge is out there in the jails now that they can come here and get well, but we got it in everywhere we can possibly think to put it out there, because we do this 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and there's kids out there that just hurt themselves that don't need to be. And it's just, it's obvious when they got mood swings and they get combative, or alcohol's involved in it, or drugs, or whatever the case may be, then the people should understand it's not them. It's what they've been through, and that's where people need to understand. These kids have been through horrific things that your mind can't absorb. And when you do that, then they come back here and they don't get the opportunity to debrief, a good debriefing when they get back, because the mentality of the military is, okay, we got to, as soon as you get back, you're going back in training, we got to keep you top dog. No, you should get them treatment, and then they'll find out they're going to get a better soldier, a better husband, better father out of the deal.
What can Congress, our government, do? Because obviously they're not doing enough.
You got a lot of people call out there and say they got the answers to a lot of things, but they don't really, they pass it off.
And they get elected and then...
Right. It all gets passed off. I mean, they told me they done a study on horse therapy, and it don't work. Well, they're wrong. I mean, a horse plays a big part in it.
Proof that it works.
It works,
Yeah.
yeah. If they would listen to us, the serenity out here, like I said, with no phones, no TV and everything out there in the middle of that 1,200 acres out there on a horse, and that horse is just wanting you to be with him and take care of you. And then that's when they start opening up. They had the time to start thinking about what's going on and can I fix my problem.
Right.
And that's where we get them at. And we use combat veterans as the main thing. It's combat veterans. It ain't psychologists. I mean, psychologists are good people. Don't get me wrong. They don't have the answers because they ain't been where we've been. Well, the only smart thing VA's done lately to me is they started peer counseling. That means if you had PTSD and you're able to handle it and talk to somebody else about it, that they've started that finally. I've sent a couple of my people there to that school just to get their paperwork to show the VA that we're doing something that we've been doing for 7 years. They just started. If the psychologists don't understand it, what they ought to do is go out and get a bunch of war movies and sit there and study them day in and day out and learn the language of the troops. Don't tell them you understand, because you don't understand, and they tell them that a lot. Oh, I understand. No, you don't. You know what really kills me? I was on a radio show, and I mentioned one of our troops got his arm blown off, and they had callers call in and said I shouldn't be talking like that over the radio, and we can't tell our story. And they said you can't do that no more. You can't talk like that. That's what they got, these games where they're blowing each other up on these games, Nintendo games and stuff.
Right.
And I can't tell what happened to my kids.
Exactly.
You know, it just burns me up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's a double standard out there. There's a lot of these people that love to raise the flag, but they don't want to hear that story.
Right.
We're just winning.
Right.
We're just winning. You know, so
They don't
but
understand.
you're doing a wonderful thing here, and that's I know I'm not as big as Ellen and Steve Harvey yet, but I'm going to be there one day.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to keep sharing your message, because what you guys are doing here is absolutely amazing. I mean, I've heard from some people who have some relatives that are here, and nothing but great praise about it. So I was like, I've got to come here and talk with you guys about it. So
We appreciate that, because the story needs to be told. I mean, people need to understand the devastation and all the children in our country that's lost their father.
that's right.
You know, people don't look at that. At that. And then daddy comes home and he's not daddy no more. He can't walk or talk. And, you know, it's just very devastating. And
Well, keep up the great work.
I just want to say one thing about my troops. Anybody out there right now that's hurting, anybody that thinks they need to end their life, you don't need to. You don't need to do that. Your brothers are here, and we're here to help you. We're your battle buddies, and we need you. We still need you right now, so don't do it. I want you to pick up the phone and call us.
the sun comes shining, then I was strolling in wheat fields waving and dust clouds rolling. The voice was chanting as the fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. God made America for